Ladies and gentlemen, come one, come all to the British University Sim Racing League. And of course, we are going into round 5 into the beautiful track of Saudi Arabia. I'm joined by the fabulous, the lovely, and handsome looking AO, Amir Otis. How are you doing?
Thank you very much, Hyperactive. We're actually here for the second sprint race here in the Summer Championship. Our first one taking place at Imola, which was full of controversy and all the drama here. And with the track here at the Jeddah Corniche circuit, this one will definitely not disappoint. We've seen something very similar in terms of the track length here. Previous round actually over in Montreal, where Cameron Soul did not manage to hold on to that win, but it was actually quite a surprise, actually. But he's looking to retain his championship lead over Dasher and Geek. And this circuit over here in Jeddah, with the sprint race added as well, may I add, this will prove nothing but a challenging competition, actually, for everyone around.
Oh, it definitely is, and it's one of those type of tracks that feels completely different to all the other tracks because it's the fastest street circuit on the entire F1 calendar and the F1 game in its entirety. So I feel this is going to be a completely different vibe of the way that people drive. We're going to see some very less drag downforces, low downforce setups. We're going to see some high top speeds, but I do also kind of want to see a little bit of strategy. I know that we saw this year, the year before that detection zone just on the entry on turn 27 is definitely going to cause a little bit of controversy, a little bit of interesting movements, and of course, naturally, you have great overtaking points into the turn 1. You have turn 13, which is a bit riskier. You don't really see much, but 22, if you are really brave, you can lunge one in there. But there's going to be some great overtaking, high-speed action, and a lot of DRS trains.
Oh, yes, absolutely as well. From the previous interviews that we spoke to over in Montreal, a lot of people had not actually practiced this much well for Jeddah. So as a result, it's kind of an even playing ground for all these drivers going on ahead. So we're actually in for a very mixed bag. You are right about the DRS trains, but the drivers really need to be careful between turns 4 and 12 to keep behind the driver as much as they can due to that dirty air. And as a result, that makes qualifying all the more important here for today.
Absolutely, and weather conditions looking nice and dry. I know you said before we went in, you were really hoping for some rain, but these games, they're based off the percentage chance that in reality it's going to happen. The percentage for Saudi is so low, so the dream didn't happen today.
Yeah, there was one point though in Abu Dhabi where it did rain a bit during the formation lap, so I still have my hopes high for rain here. Maybe during the sprint, perhaps.
It would be lovely to have maybe just a completely curveball type of race. Like, sometimes rain could be great. Like, look at the real world F1. How great has that been to have some rain? But come sim racing, I actually, as much as you want rain, I don't like it. I feel it doesn't bring the best out of the racing. You do get stuck a lot more because you don't have the DRS assistance and you're just relying on your battery pack, which is so conserved. It's like finding the golden ticket from Willy Wonka's chocolate bar. You cherish it with all your life and you don't use it that often.
Yeah, of course, but the thing is, with these drivers doing their practice runs, not much of there would be a concern about rain and stuff like that. It's really going to be a what-if scenario. But considering like the amount of rain that we've had previously, especially during the qualifying sessions and sometimes during the races, it does make that impact all the more, impactful, especially to drivers that really want a chance of scoring very valuable points here today.
Absolutely, we definitely want to see the best of the best. Jack, well, we were gonna go on board and have him do a hot lap. It turns out, no, he's not. He's done something wrong with his setup, so he's going back in, tuning it up. But we're here with Aria and AO. You think you can do a hot lap for us?
Yep, I sure can. So we head for the start-finish straight, which is one of the longest straights actually through this entire circuit here. Brake down to the right as soon as you can for turns 1 and 2, keep it nice and tidy, and then get a wide-off exit there to get used for turns 3, and then it's going to be a very long straightaway before turns 4. So this is going to be a combination of corners with turns 4 and 5, and it's a very long right-hander there you need to keep on the curb for turn 6, then 7, and then 8 another blinder hand, double apex there for 9, flat out for 10, 11 he's gone a bit wide, I think that'll be invalidated. then through 12. It's going to be a slight long straightaway before the glamorous turn 13 as you said. It's going to be a very long turn 8-esque turkey corner right there, and get a bit of the winess a bit, and then out through 14. It's going to be another straight one there for 15, and then 16. There's not going to be much overtaking here. 17, another white exit here through the white kink of 18, and then another through corner kink of 19, and then down through 20, 21. These are all amazing corners actually. 22 is going to be a bit more braking, and 23 is going to be a bit like 1 and 2. Another apex there, and then soon as Noki is going to enter through, I believe, the third sector. The third sector there, 25, and then out there is the final braking zone through 27, which is going to make it all the more important here with the DRS activation around there. It's going to be a wild dash to the finish, but since he's gone wide, I think his lap is invalid. Oh no, he hasn't, and that's a benchmark for 127.6.
Yeah, the game sometimes gives you a little bit of leeway, and it's going to be Sorel going on to pole at 126.4, really punching in the times, and I do feel this is going to drop a lot lower, maybe pushing the 25s as we go on. Mad Dog next, in for the championship fight, 27.3, just shy, and a matter of fact, a second behind, a humongous gap that's going to be between them. The McLaren of X James coming across the line. What can he do? Finds himself fourth, putting himself with a 127.9. It should be the Ferrari of Baby Yaga coming next, still in the 128s, and that 126 is looking really promising. Matty getting himself a little closer, but still a humongous gap. Cyril doing a humongous job to really put the AlphaTauri onto pole. And this is going to be a difficult time to beat. Joe, 126, finally a second driver in that region. And I'm going to say off the get-go, I'm thinking this is going to be a little closer than it first looks.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good there from Cyril as well. Joe as well from Canada as well, who matched Cyril early stages, is obviously going to be Cyril's biggest threat now. So it's just a matter of if Cyril can improve a bit more. But that 26.4 is a really huge benchmark. But for Joe, he just needs to find 3/10 for these corners, and pole position could possibly be his.
To be honest, the fact that Matty got away with that turn 10 wideness was humongous. No, it was Airy, sorry. Airy got away with it. Airy got away with the turn 10. And this is the point I was, you said, like, oh, you thought that was invalidated. If you know the boundaries of the tracks, turn 10 is one that if you kind of keep the power down, keep it wide for a longer period of time instead of going straight onto the track, the game almost thinks that you haven't left. So there is a few bugs that you can exploit, and that's exactly what you need to do. Much like that, which we see Jack completely cutting the corner on our screens. Hey, if it gains you time, it gains you time.
Talk about commentator's curse. That's what's commentator's blessing right there.
And oh, he's got another one. Is this set to strict or regular at the moment? Because this feels like we're on regular track limits, because that's too often we're seeing the drivers really extend the car. But nonetheless, if you are Jack, he's going to be happy with this, leaving a lot of room for the apex. He could have got a little closer, a little bit more off the exit to really maximize. No, he wasn't pushing, so 130 is in the 130. He's going to go into the pits, and yet still not a lap time. But the only person who is technically on track on a potential lap, well, once he gets to the start-finish line, will be Geek. And why has Airy lost his front wing?
Did he do a Mick Schumacher by any chance?
We're saying a car split in half, completely totaled?
No,
Yeah.
we don't have the damage model for that yet.
Oh, that's annoying. They'll eventually do it, but we are going to have Geek to give us a little bit of entertainment while we wait for the second round of qualifying, as into the first corner he goes. Good amount of curb there as Cyril, for another lap, puts a 126.2, improves by a lot more, knocking off 2/10 from his previous time, and this really applies pressures to the other drivers. Meanwhile, we stay with Geek, who, again, he's always avoiding the curbs like the plague here, not maximizing the track to the best of his abilities. We head into turn 13. It's long, it's tentative, and you've got to be careful with that throttle. Keeps it flat on the exit. and that was pretty smooth.
Yeah, it was. That turn 13, though, because it's a very long right-hander there, I think patience is really going to be the game here. I won't be surprised, to be honest, if we see a lot of spins coming out of that corner.
Not surprised either. I think too many people are going to get throttle heavy. I know I naturally am when I play this game, and turn 13 catches me out way too often. But Geek, looking to put in good times. No purple showing on the track map, which is always questionable within the game. But he is flying. He needs to get a little closer to that wall, but nonetheless comes around to the outside, swing it in for turn 27. Now you need to straighten that car up as soon as possible, pedal to the metal, and really power this car up to the line. 25, 26, 27. It's good enough for P4. Is there room to improve? Yes. Gotta use those curbs a little bit more.
That's amazing. You can see between Dasher, Geek, and Matty, they're all within 100, nearly like 200s with between third and fifth. So that's definitely going to be the crowd to watch out for, because starting in third is going to be a really massive advantage, because as we've seen before over in Canada, sometimes position's not always anything, but if first or second get into a kerfuffle, third will be the next in line to potentially win this race, and it's definitely possible.
It really is. It's one of the best positions you can be in. We saw that take Austria this year for the real F1. Person in third, George Russell, went and won the race because the front two crashed, and that's exactly where you want to be. But I'm going to disagree on a qualifying perspective. You want to have that lead because you can now have the option and the opportunity to pull away. So on a track like this, where the start-finish straight actually is so far forward in comparison to the actual run, I would say it's better off being on the front two rows, front row rather than the second row. However, if you get a good start on the second row, there is still a shot into turn one, as we are watching Baby Yaga on his run. All looking clean so far.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I'm not quite sure if he's going to be able to. He definitely has the opportunity to break into the 127s, but trying to get close to the wall as possible is one of the exploits you need to do at Jeddah, and we'll see if it might be an improvement from BB Yagi who goes through the second sector. I'm quite interested in your opinions, though, Hyper, for your who might win this race.
I only make that prediction as soon as I see the qualifying. So hold fire, keep that question in your mind. We're gonna get back to it in a moment. Baby Yaga, I noticed the rear flashing light means he's not pushing, but CT is pushing. It's only gonna be good enough for 7th fastest. He does improve, but he is almost a second behind Cyril, who is all the way at the front. That is a crazy gap to have, but Cyril does have a good advantage on this championship. He's in a great position, 2 wins under his belt, and he also has a 28-point lead, meaning even if he doesn't score points, Dasher can't take him.
Yeah, it's really going to be all or nothing for Cyril. Ever since I've commentated on these races, he's not really won a feature race since I'm in this position, so it'll be nice for a change of pace to watch him win for once.
It would be nice. Definitely indeed, Joe. On a flying lap, can he find a way to debunk Cyril on the top spec coming onto the line? Oh, it's all so close, but it's only a tiny improvement of 0.2, and that will still allow a huge gap between him. And Joe jumps up to second. Geek, he can't find anything else to really push his way up the grid. Eri, across the line, the second Red Bull comes third, and it's gonna be like we saw in Belgium in qualifying. The Red Bulls actually together. Well, apart from the 10-second grid penalty that Max Verstappen has, but CT, well, that's an invalidation on his lap. Oh yeah, he's just done a lap, so nothing from him. We've got 2 more runs from these drivers, potentially 1 depending on if you're going on the off strategy like Jack is, but without a front wing, that's not gonna help.
No, and that's not the first time we've seen it. We've also seen it from Area before. So, yeah, this kind of shows that even in a race setting, it's going to make it all the more, important for these front wing losses, because it's such a high corner downforce heavy track. So, going through the entire lap without that front wing is going to lose you so many seconds. probably out of contention.
It definitely would, and taking account this track, I wouldn't say it's narrow. It's not like Monaco. You can overtake. It's got a bit of width behind it. However, you do need to be careful because those walls do come at you thick and fast. Almost feels like you kind of driving around on the, well, I was going to say the M25, but to be honest, you're traveling at about 3 miles an hour on that road. It's like driving down the M1, you know, breezing down. Next thing you know, lorry in the middle of the road. That's exactly what the walls feel like.
Well, I mean, if you want to know like how close to these walls to the track it is, just ask Max Verstappen in 2021 qualifying.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a very good point. He definitely can tell you how quickly they come. And they did actually make an extension on the turn 27 wall. They made it a bit wider, so maybe they saw the god tier lap that Max was putting in, and a little sympathy wall adjustment. But we're here with Baby Yaga, doing 0.4 improvement. He's in at 128.0. At this point in time, he would only jump It's James and put himself into 9th. However, that's only first sector gap, and I feel there's a lot more that Baby Yaga can pull for us.
Yeah, definitely. The second sector is going to be all the more important for him. It's just about how getting close to the walls he possibly can without making contact with it. And, well, to do with the... Oh, he's gone purple, actually, so that's already quite a good improvement. So he might actually get into the 27s for the first time in this qualifying session and can potentially displace It's James as well. So that's going to be pretty interesting for Baby Yagi.
It will be indeed. We've got to navigate the final corner. It's the one corner you don't want to over-accelerate, but when you do, put the pedal to the metal, get it all the way down, grow up to the line. It's a 127.4, puts himself just shy of within the monster pack that is from 5th to 8th. But to be honest, he's not too far off. Another good lap. He's got... Oh, he doesn't really have much time to go. He could do another lap on this set of tyres, but we should be seeing the drivers coming out about now to go for their final run.
For Baby Yagi, I think it's really important because he gained so much time through that on his second run. So I think that's going to show some very good promise actually for the sprint and the feature race as well. He could actually gain some places, so I'd say to look out for him. Could pull some surprises.
We definitely will keep an eye on them as well, as we are going to see Jack on his outlap. A lot of the drivers are going to be doing their outlaps now. Jack kind of started the session off on the off strategy, going later than everybody else, allowing the track to be completely clear. This, in its sense, will mean that his first few runs should have theoretically been faster, but there's just been no pace from him.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate there for Jack, but the good thing is, from being so far gone is that actually during the race you kind of benefit from the leading pack ahead of you in terms of taking lines and acceleration implications and stuff like that. And plus, starting in the rear actually means you're away from all that trouble in the sprint race as well. And there's always going to be a calamity usually during turn 1. So I think here for Jet it'll probably be no different. And Jack can actually, benefit from it.
Well, Jack needs to really find some positions. As much as the back is going to be beneficial, he will be a long, long way back. In doing so, really bringing the car round. He's found 0.8 on that lap. He's going to bring him into the still in the 28th, maybe into the 27th. He needs to find a little bit more onto the second sector where it starts to twist and turn from left to right through the chicane. Keeps the car nice and tidy, uses a lot of the track. This is a lot better from Jack, and this is more impressive. Going through the continuous S's through 21 into 22, we should be seeing hit 22. Then 23, there's a car off track that's just getting out the way. Thank you very much. As the AlphaTauri continues to fly through the track. Up to 27. Heavy braking here is a little awkward in the sense that you do have to straighten that car up very quickly before you make the brake. Now power it down. Will he have some slipstream? It's a little too far away, so no little extra advantage. 26, 27. It's going to be 28.5. It's a small improvement. He lost a lot of time in that second sector.
Yeah, from that first sector, it looked really promising to be almost an entire 27 grid, but it's the second sector that he just did not manage to use all the track available, and as a result, he kind of paid the price heavily for that. But for 27.5, it's still an improvement, and it's still good from Jack. So I can definitely see him making some improvements actually during the race.
Well, CT, he wants to try and jump up this grid. He wants to go past his teammate of Mad Dogs. I remember in Portimao, him and his teammate got a little kerfuffle and he puts the car into the wall. Thankfully, it is after the line, so there will be no problems on that sense. Going down, I think we've got a Mercedes of Matty. No, this is Joe first. Comes around 27. How clean is that rear end? It's looking clean. He uses a lot of the track as well. Getting also close to the wall, to the line. Can he take pole? Take it away? No, he just can't. And it's only by fine margins. That will be down to 6,000th of a second behind. Dasher, he needs to get in this fight for the championship. Moves up to third, second row, not too bad. Geek goes across the line. He will take the third place off Dasher. Matty only finds fifth and no advantage for himself. That leaves Mad Dog and Jack left. Jack coming across the line, no, not on any valid lap time. Is Airy doing a time? Comes across the line. Nothing from him. Mad Dog, I don't know where he is.
And that's it.
Cyril didn't need to do much. That was one shot, well, two laps, and he was done.
6,000ths of a second. My goodness. I couldn't believe it.
You're definitely going to have one hell of a battle coming to the front. And if that's the margins we're getting, then I'm looking forward to what the racing will be. But of course, we will have the sprint that comes first. And I can say for sure, this is going to be one hell of a fight.
It sure is. I mean, it definitely is. I mean, with Joe being just so close to Cameron Soul, it means that Cyril's position at the start, he probably doesn't need to take for granted, but he really needs to be careful of Joe, who will be behind him. And with the sprints, as you know, there's no strategy involved. It's just basic start and then sprint to the line as fast as you can. It's with all that, it will really show the driver's skill out there. And with that, Cyril will be under a lot of pressure from Joe.
Absolutely. A lot of pressure will come forward. But before we go into the race, we're going to take a quick moment to give a big thanks to our partner of Special Effects.
Nobody likes being left out. That's why Special Effect are helping people with physical disabilities to play video games. But this isn't just about having fun. The gaming setups we create are personalised, so people can play to the very best of their abilities. And that opens the door to inclusion and independence, confidence and creativity. Help us level the playing field and create more magical gaming moments. Because it's everyone's turn to play.
Thank you very much, Special Effects, and all the hard work that you do. It's an amazing charity. Please go and visit their page. Go and look at the work they do in more details and support them for what they do to the community. It's absolutely amazing. We're moments away from the sprint, though. Amir, what's your prediction going into the sprint?
It's going to be very hard. For the sprint, I think Cyril will probably make it 2 for 2 sprint wins, but I could definitely see Joe giving Cyril some trouble. But I think those two will be the only ones that will trail off from the rest of the field. And for third, it's really anyone's game, to be honest with you. I mean, those three drivers on their own, like, it's really anyone's game. So evenly matched.
It's not long to wait. 5 lights are showing. We're off and racing on the beautiful Saudi Arabia trap. Cyril gets the job done into turn 1, says thank you very much. Dasher is side by side with Geek, trying to keep things going as Geek will jump Dasher off the start. Thank you very much, says the Red Bull driver, and he will start to pull away. Matty is also trying to stay behind, try and keep close to the lost out Ferrari driver, and in doing so, keeping up to the rear end, but he does have Airy, who's been pressuring him off the line, but everyone's through, everyone is clean, and no one is in any danger. Dashy trying to look around the outside of Geek, nothing there, no room to give. He's gonna have to be patient. First lap, everyone's through.
Yep, and now it comes in for the second sector now. Everyone's going to be completely in a one-file line now. Everyone's, I think, is going to bide their time for that turn 27, though. But it's James made a mistake, and that Bibianchi will take full advantage of that up into P9 for the Ferrari driver. And has Callum up ahead of him, and he's also kind of made a mistake. It's actually fallen down quite a bit. Bibianchi might actually gain 2 places in the first lap.
Big Aga did a fantastic job at overtaking there into 17. The rear of the McLaren just went outwards and took advantage of it fully. We watch Matty, as you can see, that Red Bull of Eri trying to go for that different line as we go down the straight. Of course, remember, ladies and gentlemen, DRS has not been activated yet, so it will be just their ERS, the energy recovery system, to do the work as Matty looks around the outside, inside, doesn't work, now allows Eri to go down the inside of turn 2, but that Red Bull's gone wide, and there was a glimpse and a hope of the Mad Dog of the Williams. Doesn't work all too well, and Matty stays alive for one more lap. He does lose to Airy, but he stays put with the Mercedes Williams behind him.
You can see there that just Matty was trying to look to overtake Airy, but it didn't actually work, and as a result, Dasher, but it turns out it fell back, and Area took full advantage of him being off the racing line in turn 1. Just shows that if your overtake attempt does not capitalize, someone else will take that opportunity and overtake you.
Massively, massively indeed. Through the slalom, through the S as these drivers go. We may see a couple more overtakes happen, although we should be seeing it to the very end. But if this was a normal race, about lap 4, 5, the drivers will calm down. But this only being 9 laps, everything has to be put onto the table. Leave nothing behind. Eri to 3/10, 4/10 behind, closing down onto Dasher. We might be seeing a potential into 27, no, just a little bit too far back. But as we cross the line, DRS will become activated onto the next zone, which will be from turn 19 to 22. And that's where we should start seeing maybe a few more overtakes happen as Joe closes up, but nothing there.
Yeah, that DRS through 20 to 21 is curved, so it's not going to give as much advantage as it would be from 27 down to 1. But it is going to be very important for those that are trying to catch up to the others. So that DRS zone will be pretty crucial as to lead to the overtakes over 27. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how it goes. That was Joe. I think he's slowing down. Oh, dear.
I think he's gone wide. I think he's tapped the wall, because in doing so now he's going to have to go 3 wide, allowing Dasher to go around the outside. Aries jumped a load of positions in doing so because of the confuffle. Aries jumped 2, now into 3rd, and that is a huge position for the Red Bull driver. However, he is 1.2 behind Geek. This is going to be a problem for the Red Bull driver to try and catch up and go for the win on the sprint. However, this has really bunched the pack up. Dasher only 1.2 behind the driver in front. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Dasher give away that position, because look at the Mercedes really trying to get a good sniff of the rear end. Looking down into 27, is on a flyer of a run, but the Ferrari goes down the inside onto the Red Bull. It's going to be side by side. Not going to work all too well. Now, the Ferrari doesn't have a good exit here. So the Mercedes is really going to say thank you to this on Matty. So Matty might throw one round the outside. He is looking around the outside, but the door will be closed. Nothing from that. And a little bit of drama has just subsided.
Yeah. All that just from that mistake from Joe on the second sector, and it's really cost him a position and a chance of the sprint race win, I believe. He's too far behind from Cyril now to even catch up now. So that's really unfortunate, but for Geek, Geek with only being 8 tenths behind Cyril, with that advantage of the DRS, could be a possibility to just follow him.
Very much you could follow, but he is on the fringe. 8 tenths, 9 tenths. It's getting a little dangerous here, and you don't want to be giving away the DRS because, well, you don't want to lose it because then it all goes downhill from here. Meanwhile, we stick with the battle for third, and the battle of third consists from third down to 10th. Every driver still technically within contention of that podium position. Well, they really got to stay close as CT and Mad Dog are going to trade positions. A lot of ERS is going to be used on 25 and 26. But go into the first, into 27, you see again, Airy looks down the inside. It's not going to work, but he is right on the rear end of that Mercedes, and in doing so, looks to go around the outside. It's going to be the long way round, but the job is done way before the corner.
Geek almost made an overtake on Cyril. He's actually very close, actually. He was 1/10 at one point.
Going to be huge, and that is a major close in the gap. The DRS playing dividend and being a massive, massive factor to play with as Geek is wanting to steal it from Cyril. But you want to time this right. You don't want to do it too early. So lap 8, lap 9 is realistically when Geek wants to make his attack. Save your ERS, build it back up, and then look at Cyril for the opportunity while we still look at this cluster of a group. Another mistake surely will come through as Eri is going to be in danger here. Somehow Eri got past Joe in the previous part of the lap. So now Joe has got another opportunity to come back past. He's looking down the DRS of the S section, and we don't see overtakes into 22, but he's done it just before and says thank you very much. But this is going to cost him because now he's given Eri the DRS onto the turn of 27 and for the start-finish straight.
Oh my word, 3 wide now, heading over through the second sector, down to the third sector now, down to 27. Dasher all the way from 5th to 3rd. Amazing stuff there from the Ferrari driver.
Eri also losing out on another position as well. He's going to be under threat by Matty, and if he's not careful, that's going to be critical because like, once again, the Red Bull goes down the inside and will try around the outside onto the Joe. Joe still side by side. Eri from a long way back is a massive lunge. No, he can't get past Joe as well, but retakes what was his, and this will go down to the very end.
All this for a sprint P3. Any one of these are in contention. And I think we've had 4 different people in P3 within the last 2 laps. So this is going to be very interesting to see how Joe will be able to handle off from all these drivers. The Mad Dog, I think, almost had a move on Callum there, but Callum retains P7. But my word, this is such an exciting battle with 3 laps to go.
It really is indeed, and just in the background, the distance, you can see It's James got past Baby Yaga, so that fight is also playing out. That is just for P9, so not necessarily points. P8 is where you get the points for a sprint race. But Matty, again, really closing down that gap onto Dasher, really wanting to get the move done. But that McLaren, where is the McLaren come from? Where's the pace? Because he is flying through the grid. A lot of ERS saved for himself. It's James, though, has made a mistake and will drop back. We look further to the front. Matty, 0.1, maybe down the inside. No, he's learned from his mistake. Overtaking into 27 has cost him dearly every single time. To the front, no, nothing from Geek. He's just a little too far away. But Dasher, can he make a move down the inside? Eri looks down the inside. It's risky. They might touch. I think they have. And in doing so, that's meant Joe is dropping down the grid. There's damage to the car. Eri will take the position, but at what cost? He's taken Joe out the race.
That is so unfortunate there for Joe, all the way down to P9. I think that's it. His chances of podium now are officially gone now. But with Area, though, I think if he had a collision with the front wing, it's going to pay massive dividends, as Mad Dog just goes wide. He made a mistake there, and he's losing out to Callum. But I wonder from Area, though, if that collision had affected his front wing. If that's the case, then he's a sitting duck to Dasher and Matty then.
It's definitely going to go to Stewart's room, guaranteed. So that's going to be questioned, and there's not really a lot you can say. That was a lunge from a mile back. Daniel Ricciardo 101. we watch again for the battle for the podium, but this is only for P4 at the moment because Matty again is right on the rear end of Dasher. Dasher trying to close on Eri to really claim this as his own. We're only on lap 7, ladies and gents, and it's already heating up. It's 7 of 9 sprint race coming in. Ferrari right on the rear end, gonna look down the inside. Is he gonna claim the DRS? No, he's gonna take the position, and that's a lunge from the Mercedes as he tries down the inside of the Red Bull. We go down the top, finishes contact onto the Red Bull. Damage is flown everywhere, and CT will say thank you very much. Thank you, boys. I'm going to come through and now have my opportunity to go with the Ferrari, but not if there's one more lunge from the damage and broken Red Bull, who needs to stay out of the way. And CT has jumped to position, not without Joe still hot on his heels.
Through the inside though he goes. Oh, there's another crash! Multiple people involved!
Unfortunate indeed. Eri needed to stay out of the way, and he caused a lot of that in doing so. Now Mad Dog up ahead, broken front wing. I think every car on the grid has a little bit of damage. And we said about It's James, well, he was near the back of this whole entire pack. His front wing looks visibly fine. And I'm going to be honest, that Williams is not looking healthy and not getting all the grip he wants from it. So, It's James might be able to jump a few positions. Matty, there's front wing damage for himself. So it's only the McLaren that has a full working car that could really fight here. And it's all about strategies. He has the lap and a half to do the job. So no pressure, and he just has to be patient. On the further back, Baby Yaga loses out to Joe as Joe tries to make his way back up through the field. Round the outside of turn 25, that McLaren's going to look. No, it's not going to work. You're going to have to lunge it late if you want to make something work, because without the downforce, it's going to be different. And Geek has got past Cyril.
Final lap now. Geek just needs to hold off from Cyril, but I think Cyril has the more ERS. Meanwhile, that's Joe overtaking It's James. I think he's going to go down for the inside of turn 1. I think P6 will definitely be his. It's James moves down to P7. But Geek ahead of Cyril. He must have overtaken on the start-finish straight now. And with the ERS that he has now, he just needs to make sure to hold off from Cyril.
He does need to hold it off. You know that the power of DRS here is massive, while the fight for this is now P4 because Dasher has pulled away from the whole kerfuffle that is there. We're going to go straight back to second as the gap continues to skirt closer, and they continue to press. Cyril has got a good opportunity. He could probably do one into 22 if he really wanted to, but it is risky. He looks to the outside. He's thinking about it. He might go for it. No, not just yet. 27 is where he's got to do it. It will be a drag race at the end, though. He is right onto the rear end of Geek. Does he play strategy here? Does he want to nab the DRS? No, he just wants the track position. He takes it for himself. Onto the final turn. Cyril is ahead, but it will become a drag race if Geek gets a good exit. He's 5 tenths behind. I think that's a little too far away. Checker flag is out. It's Cyril's for the taking.
Ooh, well done there to Cyril there. He just hung off by 0.2 of a second there from Geek. And Dasher, meanwhile, unaffected from that collision over at lap 7, takes third. Joe does a great recovery to P4 and follows by Matty in P5. James for 6 and Matt Dog in 7. Baby Yagi, unfortunately, with that crash, is over down in P8 along with Cameron, CT. And then Aria, unfortunately, with the broken front wing, down in P10.
I don't think that was what we expected. For a sprint race, full of action, everyone went for it, which is what you want to see from a sprint session. And I'm not disappointed. A little too much elbows here and there, which did ruin a few races, a few too many contacts. But hey, I'm not complaining of what we saw today.
No, absolutely not. But I think another amazing thing as well from this race as well is just like how little of track limit violations we've had. We've only had 2 drivers that were offending track limits. So it really shows that, Saudi Arabian is kind of very lenient actually for the track limits. So this is going to do a lot of favors within battles, as going to do a lot of favors here for the race and for the drivers, because it won't play as big of a factor to the race result.
I've got a feeling that someone's accidentally put the settings on regular instead of strict because there were people cutting corners left, right, and center, and no penalties were being given away. So I think that is the case right now. But we're already midway through. We're kind of already vibing with what we have at the moment, and you know, a little bit of track limits. Like, is that really gonna harm somebody? Nah, let's let them push the car wide and have some fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. So with Cameron Stroll managing to get his second sprint race so far, then he's got all the more momentum actually to win on his feature race now. But the problem is, though, because Geek was all behind him and actually took the lead very shortly. So it's a matter about for him how far he can push away from the pack until the DRS is on. Because as soon as that DRS is on, he is a marked man.
That is going to be a major point, but at the same time, if you are a marked man, you know that you can use the second driver to your advantage. If you are, I know a few of these guys are working as a larger team. They're in a couple of voice chats of their own. If you kind of work on the same level and be like, hey, look, we've got a 1.5 second gap. Let's work together. You can actually really gain an advantage, and especially on a track like this, you can do the overtake to win. So what that means is you basically just keep switching positions on the straights, not using your ERS, just little dabs here and there, overtake, 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 overtake. And what that does, if you're not fighting it, it's just naturally go past, and then you start creating the gap from the driver behind who doesn't have that DRS to assist you. So something like that I feel could be great, but of course then the last few laps, that truce goes out the window. Whether we will see that being deployed, that is the question we have to ask.
I agree. It may not only just be the teams as well between the voice calls or anything, but you can actually see some unlikely alliances which can actually follow up on this. Because the DRS has such a big momentum, people might actually go ahead and try and make attempts for positions and let the others follow, which we can see actually happen, and we have seen it before over in Canada, I believe.
Yeah, again, another great track to do that sort of idea. I know Brazil is another good track you could do that idea. That it was first kind of publicized by Alex Albon and Charles Leclerc from the virtual Grand Prix that they did in 2020. God, that feels like ages ago. I feel old now thinking about it.
We are old.
Don't say it like that. As the 5 lights again will start to come on. We're racing once again in Saudi, this time for the full race as we go straight into turn 1, and immediately Sarah will keep the position. Dasher is going to try and get past Geek as that battle will continue and ensue. Everyone else still able to get out unscathed, but in this real critical position, Dasher is past Geek.
Yeah, he took the outside for turns 1. I think it was, Geek did not have a very good start, and as a result, he's cost him dearly down to P3. But Joe and Matty are going to very closely up on him. I think they are actually gaining on him as well. But the two Williams are in their own kerfuffle between Callum and Mad Dog, so it'll be interesting to see how that battle fares on. But yeah, lap 1, still in the lead, but Dasher up into second.
I tell you what, Dasher, he needs to be careful. He's under threat by Geek because Geek is wanting to retake that position. In doing so, already, we're only half a lap through. Guess what? Cyril has a full second lead. Geek will get back past using that ERS to his advantage. And as you can see on the screen as well, just a brief moment, only Joe has opted for the hard tires, so he's banking on going along with the hards and then switching for a faster pace for the end. Meanwhile, it's James. He's been a name that we've mentioned in the sprint race one too many times, get his hands a little bit dirty as he will get past the first of the Mercedes. And off the get-go, tell you what, relatively clean, but more critically, Cyril nearly broke away.
Yeah, Baby Yagi just overtook Joe for a sec. That was an amazing overtake actually through turn 27, and Joe might actually be under threat from Mad Dog as well. But you are right about his James. For someone that started P9, he's shown great glimpses of promise and talent to move up the field in the sprint race. And honestly, with this, he has a chance to score some very valuable points for McLaren.
Big points. It's only one McLaren on the grid, so this actually helps as well in terms of strategy because he can make his own call, can pit whenever he wants. So that is not going to be a worry for himself. Meanwhile, I want to talk about Eri as we watch Baby Yaga again. He's now working his way up the field, finding himself into 5th. But Eri, down in P9, he was fighting in the sprint race at P4. Of course, that contact made it a little disappointing for himself. But this lunging Daniel Ricciardo-esque type driver, only P9.
It's the front wing. It's the front wing which he lost that has great effects on him, and that's going to be another thing as well. If they make a mistake and they have to do for another pit stop, they have to do another pit stop. Otherwise, they lose just so much time that they're out of the pack. So for Arya, I think it's okay for him because he's down in 9th, but as long as he doesn't lose his front wing again, then for that it's fine. But it's James meanwhile making an overtake on BB Yagi through 27. He's going to try and use a wide line, but I think that's Joe as well. He's going to use a slipstream from Baby Yagi to maybe overtake as well. Geek with the fastest lap of 1:30. He's actually within the DRS now, so that's going to confirm that field there. But it's James and Matty with a 1.7. I think that has softly split the field now between P1 to P4 and P5 to P10.
It's a major difference indeed, but it's James doing well to hold off Baby Yaga, making sure he's running his own race. Of course, Joe trying to apply that pressure onto the Ferrari and really keep the mindset of, you're under pressure here and I need to make my way through. However, I'm glad to say at least the front 4 who are fighting for this championship are away from the kerfuffle that is behind, and this allows a bit of peace of mind for themselves. And in doing so, again, look at Geek to Cyril, 0.9, and the ERS has been deployed from Cyril to make the gap. There's the second. Whether that's being done on the straight, they are just on the straight as well. And DRS will not be given to Geek.
He's actually closed up a bit, so I think he's just trying his best to get ever so close to Cameron. Cameron's probably using all his ERS to try and push away from Geek as far as he can, because the advantage for Geek is, as soon as he gets that DRS, he can actually recharge the ERS, whereas Cyril has to, keep depleting as much as he can.
That is very true indeed. Joe getting past Baby Yaga, but Baby Yaga looking down the inside of 27 as they go side by side. Now it's a drag race. No, not anymore. Slip behind. Go for the slipstream as Joe is going to look onto the McLaren. Of course, no DRS there. Done, dusted, and sorted. Here's your letter. We're all done. So if there's any more battery left inside of Joe, he's got to use it now. Find a way. He's got 70%. And yeah, you can see brief moments of using it. But if he can break a second here, lands himself in no man's land, you can try for the undercut to catch up to Matty.
Yeah, that's going to be very far-fetched though. But the thing I'm very interested for Arya, he's already got a 3-second time penalty already on lap 3. So I am not entirely sure about the track limits in terms of how much he had violated them. But being under pressure from Callum, though, I don't think that'll be too much of a matter. I think that's the least of his concerns as he's trying to fend off P9 from T side.
Yeah, and to be honest, that Red Bull is just not looking confident through those S's. Definitely designed for the straight line speed, because immediately when you get to this point, it's looking way more competitive. However, through the S's they go and through these fast flowing corners that Saudi provides, that Red Bull is not comfortable and it's not happy. A little update for the front runners. Dashi has lost a lot of time, making it a 1-2 battle. Then you got a little gap of 1.5. Then it's Dasha, Matty for the next bit, and Joe 3.5, 3.2 now behind that pack. And in doing so, as we talk, Matty getting past Dasha, nice and easy, nothing to worry about.
Yeah, good thing there for Matty, but Dasher will still have the DRS now to just follow behind Matty. Matty's job now solely is just to try to catch up as Geek as he can, but from the looks of it, Zoro and Geek are probably going to be on the DRS train of their own. Matty and Dasher will be on their own, and then Joe to P10 on their own. So that's going to be pretty interesting.
It definitely will be, and I think I've got a feeling if Matty and Dasher, how easy that overtake was, I would not be surprised if they have listened to my strategy call and made that a thing. We're going to see if they do overtake again, and though the gap has become 0.8, 0.9, so Matty might not actually. I think he's going to try and create that gap. However, he's not closing down on Geek, so Geek and Cyril are in a league of their own for their own pace here.
Yeah, it appears to be. The only problem is, if there is a high chance of a potential safety car if there's like a massive crash. So if that happens, that's going to undo all of Cyril and Geek's hard work throughout this entire race. So their strategy now is hoping that a clean race will be there and just go for the optimal strategy as best as they can, and then just go and then just race along off to the sunset. Well,
Yep.
start it, but yeah.
You have to remember as well that everyone is on mediums bar Joe. Joe in the Mercedes is running on those hards. Thank you, producer. I think that's going to be quite an interesting thing to note as well, because Joe can go two ways here. One, he can go long, only a little bit long, as we do see Eri get a nose change as well. He can go long, go to, you say, lap 16, 17, switch over to the mediums. Or he could play really risky, go lap 20, 19, 20, and go for the softs. We're seeing Mad Dog go really wide there. I think a little bit of errors, shall we say, on his own behalf. So there's a big strategy call that Joe can make, unlike the medium tires, where realistically they are going to wear out about lap 15, 16.
The curious thing, yeah, that's a good advantage for Joe though, but the thing is, I'm not entirely sure how much tire wear will have as big as an impact as those DRS straights of 27 to 1. Because I think that DRS is just too overpowered that I think it kind of nullifies Joe's hard strategy call, regardless of what he makes. But I could be wrong. He does have a lot to play. He could go for softs if he wants, or he could go for mediums. But I think that's my personal opinion in terms of the strategy.
Well, I know Dasher's getting all so close. Dasher making the overtake just in front of us. Again, nice and easy. And Baby Yaga also getting the job done. So both Ferraris actually overtaking and being competitive, unlike this season. Sorry. And they will get past their respective opponents. And this is good for Dasher and Matty. Again, they're using those overtakes, making it easy amongst themselves, not getting too battly within each other. And in doing so, it's only a 3-second gap. I say only because that's still quite big. But they're not allowing it to get too big. While Baby Yaga, well, he's got a big gap in front of him. And again, it's just using the idea of free DRS and free overtaking to close the gaps.
Yeah, actually, that puts Joe's advantage for the hard tires even better, because he won't have Baby Yagi to worry about with the DRS now, because he's too busy fighting his James and Callum and Mad Dog. But it's going to be very interesting to see between Dasher and Matty to see who will come off in this fight between each other. Because the other thing as well, whenever you make an overtake attempt, at least for these high-speed corners, you're putting a lot of strain on these tire wears because of the high-speed nature of these corners. So every time you're off the racing line, you're pushing more tire wear to it. And this will probably mean that for those that are always in a constant battle, that undercut is going to seem all the more appealing to those drivers.
It will indeed, as Matty once again will get past Dasher. He was looking at 27 as the door got slammed shut by Dasher. So in doing so, Matty says thank you very much, we're just going to take advantage of it. Meanwhile, the McLaren of It's James is opting for a NASCAR style of play called bump drafting, trying to push Baby Yaga up the road. It's not the first time we've seen bump drafting being used in the F1 game. However, really not advised if you're trying for a real F1 car.
No.
Oh, who have we got out?
I believe we might have a crash. That's really big, or a yellow flag.
Full course safety. It looks to be Jack, who's not got any problems, just desynced.
It could be possible that he might have spun on track and he was there long enough to cause a yellow flag, but I can't see any really crashes because Arya still has front wing on, so it's not going to be him. But yeah, that's the safety car, and that's Geeks and Cyril's hard work all for nothing. It's been nullified, and that's going to be interesting now in terms of the safety call now. So I wonder if there's going to be any people that would push their chances and go for the hards potentially, because Joe has done pretty well so far. So it's not out of the realms of possibility to change for tires now, but well, shall see.
I think 100% you got to make that call. Go in, put
Yeah,
it on
there
the
we go.
hards,
Cyril's
and
into the pits
they're
now.
going in.
Geek's into the pits now. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. So you're lap 8, turning lap 9. You can do a few laps under the safety car, so it would be lap, what, 11, 12 before you start racing. You're on hards, you're fine. You're going to be fine. They'll last. It will be touch and go near the end, for sure. So that's going to be where we see the question marks. But the AlphaTauri into the pits, hits his mark correctly. That's unfortunate for Joe. Just a little too close. How much has he lost in that battle? He's behind the Williams. No, he's not. He's lucky. I think he's just got away with it.
Yeah, well, even though for double stacking, and it was like a few seconds of lost there for Joe, he is going to regain it because he has not lost any positions whatsoever. But yeah, it just shows it does show from the theory that tire wear does not matter as much, just as long as you're within the DRS range. I don't think Arya has pitted, so he's going to jump up into P9. But the problem is, yeah,
He did pit. He pitted before the safety car came in and changed his wing.
Yeah, I was mistaken, my bad. But yeah, so since he's got fresher tires now, all the other ones are going to be in a few laps quicker, but his is going to be in a more optimal warmer condition than the others, so he could put that to a disadvantage. The problem is he is still 3 seconds penalties added, so it's going to be interesting. Joe is the only one on mediums, so he started on hards, so he switched to mediums, so that's going to be pretty interesting.
I feel high deg in the terms of its high-speed corners. You really do wear out the tires. I think puncture territory is gonna be something he's gonna have to look at. It depends on how well these drivers can hold position. As you can see partially see on your screen, Cyril in first. The automated screen says that Cyril is in the championship lead. Well, it's got it right. He is in the championship lead. He is currently ahead by 28 points. This race would almost solidify his victory in the championship.
Unless if Silverstone happens, but we may never know. Or Montreal.
Yeah, for this race, yeah. In theory, if Cyril wins, he will win the championship for sure. I would have to do a bunch of math calculations. That is not my thing. I don't like doing maths on the fly because I usually get something wrong.
Cyril wins if he finishes. End of discussion.
There you go. Simple as. I think second, 18 points plus. Yeah, you're fine. You'd still be winning. In my head, hang on a minute. We're gonna do. Let's do laps. Let's work out what it is. So they are currently pulls up the championship stat. So it's 138. It's what, 8 points for a sprint win?
Yeah, I think.
If I can find my calculator on my phone, hold up. So
yeah, 8 for a win.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. On the fly, mathematics. This is how we do it as commentators. 138 plus 8. 146. Where did Dasher come? He was about third, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So that's only 6. Yeah, oh no, he's fine. I don't even have to do the maths. Yeah, a potential win, a definite win will guarantee a victory. I'm not going to do everything else for the maths. Yeah, we'll call it that. But we should soon be getting back underway, as everyone is bunched up. We'll hopefully, fingers crossed, see safety car in. Won't be this lap, but it will most likely be the next lap for sure. But everyone now bunched all the way back up. This allows for a bit more. Actually, no, safety car could come in this lap. It could be quite interesting.
Yeah, it definitely will be. So, let's see about the people that we need to look out for. Joe being on mediums, it's going to be interesting to see how much he can gain. I think the safety car is coming up. Oh no!
What has happened?
No! Oh my god!
No!
Oh my god, it's Montreal all over again. It's Montreal all over again. I don't believe it. That's left the race right open now for Matty, Geek, and Dasher now for P3.
That is crazy. Safety car is in. Dasher has somehow retired as well. There's been... Oh, they're all crashing amongst each other, and a safety car is back out again. Or is it? The yellow flag is waving. No, it's all back. I think we've had a desync.
I think it's a technical issue, actually. And yeah, yeah, we're suffering technical issues, ladies and gentlemen. We're deeply sorry about this on behalf of all of BUSR, I guess.
That's crazy. Well, we most likely will do a lobby restart. Whether the drivers actually will stop, yeah, a lot of them are going to retire here. So we are going to take a very, very short break while we try and sort out the lobby and get things all sorted for you guys.
Well, congratulations to Baby Yagi for winning his first race of the season.
Hey, the greatest win comes from all the technical problems. But as we said, we'll take a little short break. We shouldn't be too long. When we come back, we'll get back into the racing once again. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We do apologize for the little break, but we are going back into the race, and I tell you what, we're going back and doing the last remaining 18 laps of the race. This is going to be quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure will be. With only 18 laps, though, pit strategies are obviously going to change, so it won't pay as much as a factor here, but you can definitely see a couple of them maybe doing one-stops. But for some in the hards, maybe they might, like Joe, for example, if he realizes like how good in the hards that was, he could potentially push it throughout the entire race potentially. But alas, we shall see. With only 18 laps left, it's and with what we've seen already within the sprint race, which was 9 laps, and before we had our crash, which was only 12, for 18 laps remaining, it's going to be very exciting for these final few laps and to see if Cameron Soule can actually clinch his championship here.
It definitely will be quite interesting. Of course, naturally, we have to look back a little bit, rearrange the order accordingly to make sure everyone lines up in the correct way. But we should be good. It will be back to a standing start, so 5 lights will show once again, and we are off to the races. The fine gentlemen go, and in doing so, again, Cyril will keep the lead. Geek will take it back from Matty, but they stay side by side. But the Red Bull will not give in, not indeed. It's the Ferrari of Dasher having a little look, trying to get past Joe, but that's not going to work out all too well. And in the order, it will go Cyril, Matty, Greek, Joe, Dasher, Baby Yaga, It's James, CT, Magdog, and Ari. And the Williams still trying to tussle amongst each other.
Yeah, they still are. They have been at it all through the first race, and now they're going to be at it all through again now. Mad Dog really trying to take that position back from Calm. He lost at the start at the feature race earlier on, but for Joe, who was all the way back down in the sprint race and is clawing his way back up, now up into 4th, he's actually in the chance to follow that lead along with Cyril and Geek as well. As we can see here, the possible race strategies here for this 18-lap race.
Yeah, you never see the hard be put on. That is a nil point, not gonna happen, never. Not in this short of a distance, as we see CT looking to go around the outside, getting also close to It's James, the only McLaren driver, but It's James like, you know what, you could have his little sniff, I'll do the overtake on the driver ahead myself, and that's a job well done. Remember, DRS will not get activated until after 2 laps, so Baby Yaga is wanting to have another run at the McLaren, but you could see CT on the outside also wants to get involved. No, not just yet, but it's a crash. CT gone into the rear end of the Ferrari, damage to the front wing of the Williams. Nothing to take him out the race, but that will at least put him in a horrible position.
Yeah, I think the Ferrari he moved back into the racing line under braking. I don't think Callum was actually expecting it, and it was just a sudden surprise for him. And as a result, there's a collision. He's really lucky to keep his nose cone on, actually, which means that he's not out of the fight by a long shot, but with 1 second. And then with the DRS being, I think he might actually has lost a front wing. He's going pretty slow.
I think it's the end plate that he's lost, so even when you lose an end plate, you have to brake a little bit earlier to counter the direction of which the end plate is lost, or if there is just a percentage of damage, you do feel it when you are driving the car, and it's horrible. Adjusting to it feels like an uphill battle. But we look at Geek as he is getting all too close to Matty. So in doing so, a look to 27 is where they're going to go, but it's already going to be done way before 27 as the Red Bull driver of Geek says thank you very much. But Matty, maybe down the inside? No, not that ballsy, not that confident under braking just yet. The tyres going to find their grip. However, Matty gonna have the run down into turn 1, but so will Geek, as he'll have the DRS advantage as well. Not gonna work. They hold position for now.
Yeah, Joe has fallen back a bit more, but if he uses a bit of that ARS, he too can join in this DRS train as well and carry Dasher along with them. It's James also being out of DRS range, which is also quite strange, along with Baby Yagi, Mad Dog, and Area. But I think with Callum, I'm not sure if... I don't think Callum's probably... Yeah, no, Callum is definitely pitting as we see someone going off. That was Geek, and that leaves Matty to P2, and Joe will actually take that as well. It's going to be a Mercedes 2-3, unless if Geek can fight off from Joe. But that mistake has cost him very dearly. Up from second, now down to fourth.
It's so easy to just get a little bit of oversteer on turn 9. You swing that car in, and the rear end just wants to step out, and in doing so, it does. A CT's gone into the wall, or he has retired on track, which is horrible to do and highly frowned upon. This will cause a virtual safety car, so no bunching back up. It's like a Scalextrics track. You put all the cars onto one track, pull the trigger, and have a lot of fun with them going at the same speed.
Thank you for making me feel young, bro.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Scalextrics is great fun. They actually still make stuff, you know that?
Yeah, I know. I remember having my first set when I was 5 on a A1 GP1, but
Damn,
yeah, that's quite fun. I am very old. Virtual safety car is out now. Matty's going to take advantage of that. He's probably going to put on the mediums. I think he realizes he can take advantage now and get on the mediums. The mediums is definitely the optimal. No, he's actually going for first. Wow, that's surprising. Joe's got a
beating under the VSC for Joe. Yeah, going too fast under the Delta when it does go green. It's so massive disappointment for Joe, who was in a prime position here to really get some big old points, but he's having to do a drive-through penalty for that action. And in doing so, Geek is going to be there and waiting for him. So 3 laps and Joe can do it. But that pit under the safety car was huge. Look at that, 16 seconds behind the rest of the pack. There is a high probability here that if Matty can keep those hard tires running at good temperature, he could take the entirety of the race.
He really could. He really could. It might actually be the deal of a lifetime Matty had from that virtual safety car. All credit to Callum. Unfortunately, retired. I'm not quite sure if he's actually lost it on the pit exit, or if he realizes being 30 seconds behind, it's kind of done and dusted for him. But alas, as we can see, the fight between Area and BB Yagi is really going side by side through the second sector. My word. That was really close for comfort there, but Area gets himself up into 6th. They might actually take 5th as well. 2 positions. Oh my god. Oh no, and that's James has spun. He's lost his front wing. I think that might be another safety car. If that's the case, then Matty's pit strategy. Yeah, there we go. The safety goes out. Matty's lost the positions now. He's down to 8th now officially. Regardless of how much the hards he can keep on, everyone else is now going to get a free pit stop now from being 10 seconds or so. Unless, if he doesn't pit, he might actually jump ahead.
I don't think he would pit. It'd be very surprising if he does that. If he does consider the pit strategy, then he can. Actually, he is. He is technically in the pits. So he can go back to a softer compound, as we have a little delay from the McLaren. Why would you pit? I would not have pitted there.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, because it's such a massive advantage. And as soon as the others will eventually come and pit as well, you'd be in the lead of the race. And for Matty, maybe Matty doesn't actually want to lead the race because he'll have the DRS train fully behind him. But yeah, it's quite interesting to see why Matty would pit again, and this time for mediums as well. So
strategy. Yeah. It's because he put himself on the hard. I don't think that was meant to happen, because if they went for full racing pace on the hards, then yes, you'll be fine. Mediums, you're pushing it at that point because you definitely need to pit. So now you've got a few laps under safety where it's a lot smoother. 1000%. You can be under those on those mediums and it'll be completely fine.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think another thing as well is that because the safety car is in there for 3 laps, I think the hards would have lost their usefulness. Because the hards would have been there as long as it had like the full racing pace. As you can see, everyone is coming in now. They're all going to probably switch into mediums. I'll be surprised if someone switches to softs again.
Yeah, Cyril, Geek, Eri, they're the ones that we're going to have to keep an eye. And actually, I was thinking about strategy and the advantage of it. No, Matty's screwed his race over. He's 40 seconds behind. Geek's having to go onto the hards. We're seeing a lot of the hards come out. Baby Yaga was thinking, no, he's gone to mediums. So it's mediums and hards to the end of the race. Yeah, Matty screwed himself over. He really should have stayed out. Even though the hards, yeah, I can see what he was trying to do. But I don't think he planned for the rest of the pack to... I think he thought they were caught by the safety car. But this is why you have a full map rather than a small map to know where they are.
Yeah, of course. But honestly, if I was Matt, I really would have just stuck with the hards because, you know, you've already got the tires on, and by that point you would be in lead. But because he had another extra stop as well, sure, he'll close up a bit, but now... Oh, they're
He's in again. What is he doing?
Is he going on for the hards again? Did he make another mistake?
I don't know, but that race is done and dusted.
Oh yeah, Joe as well with the drive-through penalty as well. So all this work that he's had from the safety car is actually going to make it worse for him as well because the pack would have been all bunched up. So that's going to be very unfortunate for Joe. He might actually lose. He'll be down to P8, I think, at this rate.
Yeah,
No,
I
P9.
don't know. I'm pretty sure that the drive-through penalty will have to serve as soon as the safety car does fully end, because there should be a ruling in place that because he wouldn't be able to serve it under safety car because that's too much of an advantage. So that little penalty line, I believe that is a drive-through that's still showing, unless the game has screwed itself over and given him a 5 to 10 second time penalty, which is the usual that you get. But lap 6 of 18, well, it's been a little interesting, a little bit spicy here and there, but we're halfway done. To think that we're nearly done on this race is quite mind-boggling, as we've been here for an hour and a half, nearly an hour and a half, doing these races.
It's the magic of BUSR, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Makes you stay for an hour and a half of these interesting races, either be it full of controversy or calamity or full of great racing, which we have seen before, as Baby Aggie is up to... Oh no, he's into the pits now. I thought he was going to take it, my goodness. So Baby Aggie's now going to enter the pits. That's going to drop him down to 9th now. I wonder... Oh yeah, he didn't pit because of the double stacking that Dash already had. But he's now going to go for fresher mediums now, and that's going to push him down to 9th, I believe.
Maybe, yeah, definitely 9th now because of the front wing change included. We're slowly getting there, ladies and gents. We're getting back to the racing. I believe safety car should be coming back in this lap. So we will wait and see. But off the get-go, Cyril's been quick off the line. He's been maintaining the lead quite nicely. What if you are in Geek's position, what do you have to do to dethrone Cyril?
Just pray that there's a desync issue again. Honestly.
Technical errors. That's the strategy.
Technical errors.
Oh my god.
Lightning strike once, why can't it strike again, eh?
Oh god. I guess in a way there is some possibility. However, I think from my perspective, if you are Geek, you're gonna have to make sure you get past Cyril off the line. That's gonna get kind of disrupt Geek, and then what you do from there is through these slower S's. When I say slower, 22, make sure you kind of break in maybe a little bit earlier, back up the pack a little bit, making sure that Joe stays within the contention, and then that puts pressure onto Cyril, and then that keeps the opportunity alive. And especially if you're Dasher, you want to find your way through Cyril not getting the full race win, because remember, if Cyril wins here, he is guaranteed the championship.
Yeah, Joe's going to have a drive-through, so that's not going to... With Geek going to carry Joe, it won't be possible. But for Dasher and Area potentially, definitely Geek can carry those two and put even more pressure on Cyril. I think that's really is just his chance now. Use the DRS as much as he can. If he can get Cyril off the line, that'll be a bit advantageous. But that DRS, as soon as that DRS kicks in, then being in the lead that kind of loses all of its advantages. And you really just want to be behind the leading car, especially through turns 21, 22, and then 27.
Well, around the final corner they go. You want to pounce as early as possible because then you get a good run, and in doing so, the AlphaTauri of Cyril is going to make the run down into turn 1. Immediately, Joe's going into the pits for his drive-through penalty, and there you can see the Red Bull and the Ferrari. Eri has been from the back of the grid. Look at him. He's up in P4, tries to put his nose in onto turn 2. Not going to work. Has to stick back. But still, P4 from P9, Eri started, and this is a fantastic run from the driver.
Very, very good attempt there from Eri, just trying his best to make that overtake on Dasher, but kept it safe and very close for margins there. But P3 for Dasher, P4 for Eri, but still in contention for that lead because they're still within a second. Well, were.
Yeah, indeed, and Matty, that drive through, that weird strategy, the stops that he did, the too many, too much thing, well, it's put him in P5, so he hasn't lost all too much, but the freshest set of mediums that there are on the grid, that can come in handy. Push just that little bit more with 10 laps to go. Oh, sorry, 11 at this point in time. There is a lot of opportunity for Matty to close down the gap, but Geek is a second behind. Dasher 1.4 from Cyril, and that is going to really allow this championship fight to be over. Dasher needs a win to still remain in the fighting contention if he wants a chance.
Yeah, he really, really does, and you know, his best bet is just try to catch up as much as he can. With Geeker and Dasher, though, they're in their own fight for P2 as well. So I'm not sure if Dasher's concerned about the race. Dasher's concerned about the race win, but more so securing P2. If Cyril's just going to be so far ahead, so you can expect to see those two battle out in a fierce rivalry potentially in this race.
Nonetheless, Eri keeps the pressure going, but he's losing out just ever so slightly. That's the second. And the pressure that he did have has disappeared. He's now going to have Matty on the rear end, putting pressure on himself. But he needs to drop in that second. He's got to do it for the DRS so he can have a chance for the podium. While the front three are all a second piece ahead of each other. And yeah, it's James. Spun, made a bit of damage. No safety car, thankfully, as we continue this race.
Yeah, that's his second spin so far. That was down in turn 7, I believe. I believe it was turn 7. Hang on a minute. Turn 9. Turn 9 he spun. Jesus, there's a lot of corners. Very interesting there from James, though, but unfortunately he's kind of lost all that lost ground. Down to P9. It's not looking good for the McLaren driver. Such a shame because he was doing really well.
It is a massive shame for Rich James, and in doing so, we've seen what he's been able to put forward, the attacks, the defense. He's really been amongst that mid-pack. The only way he can come back from this is a safety car. I wouldn't rule it out if there's going to be another, but at the same time, it's not something you want to see. Meanwhile, Eri, still keeping it alive. We questioned the possibility of being that second away, but he has been able to hold on for dear life. Geek, on the other hand, he's brought himself back into that second, within the second for Cyril. So this fight is far, far from over.
Yeah, the other thing I forgot to mention as well is that area from that first race before we've had that technical difficulties, he was carrying a 3-second time penalty. So I'm not entirely sure if all that gain might be for nothing if that 3-second time penalty would be in place. But, you know, gaining 6 positions is really good for him. And, yeah, he's actually done pretty good as terms of recovery from what happened in the sprint and the first half of the race.
I'm glad you mentioned that about Eri, because that would have to go to the steward's room, and the fact we're addressing it on stream as well will definitely bring it more to light. So yeah, 3 seconds possibly looming for Eri, but that is going to be Eri going a little bit wide and taking another corner. In doing so, now Matty going to take the opportunity that was given to him round the outside, says, "Thank you very much, buddy. That position is mine." But in doing so, has allowed a 2-second gap to Dasher and that podium position. fading away.
It really, really is. And fortunately for him, he'll have Area and Mandog go behind him with the DRS. They won't be close enough to make it overtake now, but having that's another. I think that was James going slowly again. I think he must have went off again. Not really looking to be a good day for the McLaren driver. Unfortunately, that's his third, I believe. If he did spin again. Yikes.
Yikes, indeed. And
Yep.
that's going to be horrible for himself, because even though you got no pressure, nothing on you, that spin's going to mentally do yourself in, and it's going to hurt a lot more. I've been in that position. You're at the back and you're spinning when you got no pressure, and it hurts. You almost feel and consider about giving in, but the fact he's staying, the fact you keep on racing, you can pick up scraps for any crashes that do happen, and that's the mentality you've got to have, and that's how I gained a lot of points. Yes, I will confess, I was at the back of the grid most of the time.
Wow. Can't believe we're hearing words from Hyperactive himself.
Yeah, I was like tier 6, 7, PC, minimal, race line only on PC. So,
Cool.
not that high, not that great.
As we turn attention. No,
Laugh at me, but that is the honest truth. I have been an honest man today to say how bad I am at racing. But as they say, if you're not good at the game, commentate it.
At least you have an esports career. That's all I'll say. As we turn our attention back to the fit. Seriously, I only attended one race. I spun in the formation lap and I crashed on turn 1. That's the summary of my esports career right there.
At least I got P7. I'll at least I'll say this, out of a 20-man grid, I got P7 in one race. So at least I've definitely got some career behind me. But enough about us, and back to the race itself. Lap 12 of 18 as this continues to go through. It's died down, it's calmed down. This is what I was really expecting from this race, is for a more spread out, calmer grid. But I don't feel this race is fully over. We can see that Geek is, fairly in line with Cyril, so that's going to come up. Airy keeping in touch with Matty. So at the end of the race, we definitely will see something, but that is huge. Thank you, producer, for showing that. 11% ERS for Geek. Cyril at 38, so a lot more defensive power in place for Cyril, but has Geek used all of his ERS to catch Cyril?
It's the ERS he's using to get the DRS, and as I mentioned before, as soon as he gets the DRS, he can give a leeway to that ERS that he's using for so much. And look, you could just see it now, just from the pure DRS itself, because he's probably off on the ERS now. It has so much of advantage down that main straight. He is still using some of it, but he is still mainly using it to charge. But look now, down to 3/10 now, whenever it was 8/10 halfway through.
Well, with something we'll definitely keep an eye on closer to the end, as that will be the main talking point. But Matty has been able to actually catch up to Dashus, and this makes it a three-way battle for the podium as well. So this will be Dasher in the Ferrari, Matty in the Mercedes, and Area in the Red Bull. Mad Dog a little too far back. He's 2.8 seconds behind Area in the Williams. But if there is a mistake from all three, don't rule out that Williams to come into the fight. However, that is assuming there is a major mistake that happens.
Yeah, Dasha needs to keep P3 for his life, because he's not in a good position now heading into Austria to hold on to that P2, that prized P2 place that he's in right now. He's definitely going to lose it to Geek now from this feature race alone. So it's just a matter of him doing damage control and just securing as much points possible as he can to carry through to Spielberg.
Well, Austria always brings the best out of all the drivers. It's short, it's quick, and it's fun. But we're not doing short and quick, we're doing long and fast. And that is exactly what this track is. And in doing so, you can see the Mercedes of Matty. He's eyeing himself up 0.4. This is usually the region you can make a good overtake opportunity into turn 1. The Ferrari, not looking to defend, knows this is not the place for it. But the Mercedes also understanding. Lap 14 out of 18. We're still 4 laps to go. This isn't the 5 laps to go. This isn't the right time to do it.
Yeah, nitpicking his moment right there for Matty. He's going to maybe try again. I think he was a bit too far off, and he would have had to do a lunge and a half, Ricardo-esque style, in order to make that move work. It's not really worth the risk as Area goes wide once again. He's really suffering out from this track. It's the second time he's been wide again. The first time whenever he lost his third place to Matty, and he's done it again. I wonder if it's to do with the tires, or wonder if... Because if he does it again, he's going to get 3 seconds from here as well. And regarding the stewards or not, if that's a possibility, he may get 3 or 6 seconds time penalty. And that will be the case, then that kind of drops to like 7th or so.
It's one of those turn 10, turn 11, 10, 11, 12. It's like that kind of area it's very easy to swing that car wide because you've just really thrown the car in to turn 8 and 9 as a double apex type corner. So you swung it in, and then you've got to really change that direction all so quickly to go into turn 10, and the car just doesn't want to move. It almost screams no at times. So that's why we're seeing a lot of the cars go wide. But this is going to be the overtake for P3. Matty with a effortlessly done. So thank you very much. I'm going to take P3. But is this too early? Is this overtake going to damage him in the long run? Because now he's ahead, no DRS to defend, and he's now got a raging Ferrari right behind him.
He's got more ERS as well than the drivers before him as well, so he can use that ERS as well for that defensive power without that DRS. So it's a possibility he might just let Dasher go without a fight in lap 16 or 17. I think that's area going a bit wide again. But between Dasher and Matty, though, if Dasher makes another overtake, then whoever is going to take the lead from lap 16, the other man will just do their best to catch up. But the other thing to note about as well, and that's another important thing between Cyril and Gerald was in the sprint race as well, that finish line is so close ahead that if you make a good exit out of turn 27, even well ahead, it's just about enough to win, to get that position and make it stick.
Well, that's exactly what Matty is banking on. Also, at the front as well, Cyril and Geek really closing it up amongst each other, so this might turn out to a little scrap at the very end. It was the calm before the storm. The storm is starting to brew as we head into the final phases of the race. There's 3 phases of a race: the start, the pit stop, and this, the end, as it comes to turn 1. Nothing just yet. Dasher, though, is going to say thank you very much, retake that position. Again, do you question, is this too early to make that fight? Because Eri is just sitting patiently. We allude and we kind of say being the third driver in the train is sometimes the best position. And we are saying that these two, are they going to fight hard, or are they just going to play patient?
Fight hard or fight smart. In Saudi Arabia, it awards both. And that's the best characteristic of this track that I can ever give praise for. Because really, it just awards people who both fight hard and fight smart. And I'm not sure about Area, even though being third and being quite distant, that if he's just going to let them two fight out so he can take that advantage for the final lap. But between Matty and Dasher now, for them, it's just all to lose. Dasher's just holding on to the P2 chances in the championship as best as he can, and Matty's looking to spoil it. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this fight develops. Between Geek and Cyril now, it's now down to 8-10s. I think Cyril has just about got that win sealed, unless if Geek has got something else up in his sleeves. But with that ERS deficit, I don't think that'll be the case.
I think Geek has just taken a little pause and a little less of attack to build that ERS battery. So he's going to use it on either penultimate or final lap. So that's going to be a strategical call from the Red Bull driver. Meanwhile, Matty getting all so close as well. Again, another easy overtake, but look at that Red Bull behind. It almost looked like it bashed into the wall. I think it might have been just a visual error on our end, because that Red Bull is still fine. So again, an easy overtake for Matty, nothing to worry about. 17 of 18. Again, another recharge, another rebuild. Fine, let's work out what they want to do.
Yeah, definitely. Good overtake there from that I was concerned about Arya because I really think he did hit the wall. But you can see there from Dasher as well, whenever you try to recharge and the other one is just using that ERS, you do lose that momentum through the second sector, especially because in that second sector, really having a lot of ERS really benefits you from these high speed corners. But yeah, it's still about 2 laps to go, and still not about the final lap. So Dasher still has the chance to reclaim P3 from Matty, and Geek is slowly catching up to Cyril as well, probably depleting the ERS as we mentioned before, taking that break, and now going for one more final charge now. As yeah, that's quite interesting there from Cyril.
Yeah, this is going to be the place and the opportunity. 27, no, nothing's going to be done. Looking to turn 1 is where Geek will want to make his attack. Also, the pack of 3 is good for the final podium position. Also, will start to heat up. So, Geek, is he going to do it into turn 1? No. Way too far back to make a move. However, the P3 battle will start to brew up. Dasher is going to go down the inside. But so very down the inside goes and takes both. Tries for the best, but still can't make it stick. He won't get it done. He nearly shoves the Mercedes into the wall. Eri still not done. He wants to find a gap, but in doing so, through goes Matty, and that's going to be P3. All for him. There is still one last opportunity. Into 27 is where they can do it. Up ahead, Cyril, Geek, nothing they can do as Geek is fallen back behind the second. So the one shot, the one opportunity Geek had into turn 1 has disappeared as he will now have to sit behind and watch Cyril take the lead and win of this race, of which what a race Cyril has had. Even though there's been a technical difficulty, even though there was a little kind of hiccup midway through, he remains confident and in the lead, and in doing so, will cross the line as a world champion in the BUSR. But this is not over for P3. This is going to go right down to the wire. Dashi is going to try and make one more attempt into 27. He looks to the inside of Mercedes. The Mercedes slightly close to the door. Drag race to the end. Checkered flag for Cyril. Geek comes second. But who's going to wake it on the drag race? Matty to the line. Will have enough. Says thank you very much. Podium for himself.
Amazing work there from those 3 drivers. For the fortunate thing for Dasher was it could have been his, but it caught Arya by surprise. He never expected Arya to make that such a dive bomb as well, and as a result for him, kept fending off from Arya. Wasn't worried about Matty at all, and then Matty came out from nowhere on the racing line and retook P3, and that just really shows you like that was an amazing battle. Mad Dog in P6 with BB Yagi in P7. Joe recovers from that drive-through penalty to claw back to 2.3 second gap now for BB Yagi. And it's James, unfortunately from spinning 3 times, will come home in P9 at least to finish and at least to score some very valuable points. But my word, Hyper, what an amazing race we've had here.
Oh, it really was. A little calm at the front. Cyril, as I said, held his own, didn't really do all too much necessarily up there. Had minimalistic pressure with Geek behind him, but that battle for P3 is where it all unfolded, where our focus was for most of the time. Eri, considered driver of the day inside the game. Here's a question for you, AO. Who is your driver of the day?
That's very difficult, honestly. Cameron Cyril has actually done really well. Pole position, sprint race, and a feature race as well. So, and I think he's also got the fastest lap too. If that's the case, then that's pretty much a triple crown there for the Saudi Arabia. But I'm not entirely sure if he has got the fastest lap. He's probably going to be my driver of the day because I've never seen him dominate in such an amazing fashion like this before. And especially of Saudi Arabia, of all places, where the DRS is just so overpowered. It just shows you, like, even if you manage your ERS well, advantages come your way. So he gets my driver of the day for that amazing performance that he's done.
I'm for Matty. I think he pulled off a great performance. He wasn't at the front off the get-go, and he fought his way through amongst the mid-pack, was able to stay calm, cool, and collective, and didn't put himself in the wall or allow the other drivers around him to force him in horrible situations. And in doing so, kept his racing calm, kept it a little aggressive, and even though when we thought he lost it on that final lap, Airy came in to save the day for him, and in doing so, that great overtake onto the inside of turn 2 put him into the prime position, and then just pulled the gap, depleted his ERS to make the job well done. So he would be my driver of the day. But as we say, what a great series, what a great race that was.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, fantastic racing from qualifying with Joe being like a thousandths away from pole position to the race where Seoul managed to win it just by on the edge of his seat, and then the feature race as well, albeit a few difficulties. Joe having received the driver penalty, unfortunately, and Matty, despite having that strategy kerfuffle as we mentioned before during that safety car, he still managed to claw back and get all the way up to P3, which is absolutely remarkable.
It is absolutely amazing, but I also want to give some notices and some great shout outs to Aries as well. Brilliant work from him. We're going to question about the time penalty that's going to come into play, and then also I think it's more of a condolences towards the McLaren driver of James. There were some great moments, but even when you get pushed out of a horrible situation, you end up going into the wall. You've got to make sure you stay on the back rear end. You've got to stay on point. But we are going to have a few interviews, and I think what better way to start is to start with our third place driver. That will be of Matty, assuming he has joined. Yes, he has. There is Matty. Matty, what a race for you, a complete battle to the very end. Talk us through that second stage of the race.
The second stage, okay. Well, I can't lie, I was very surprised with Aria's race pace today. Obviously, I haven't raced for 2 weeks, so I was majorly surprised at how quick he was. Fair play to him, even though he was hitting about 5 walls a lap. However, it just then turned into Cameron and Geek had left us alone with me, Dasher, and Aria, and it was just whoever could save the most battery and cross the line in third.
Yeah, it worked out to your favor. Qualifying, wasn't necessarily the strong suit for yourselves. Were you worried about, you said you were 2 weeks off, were you worried about the race pace that you would bring? Are you massively surprised that P3 was actually on the table here?
Definitely after the sprint, I had some very questionable incidents, which I need to apologise people for. But I think the pace in general was fine. Joe getting a drive-through helped with that. That eliminated another podium contender. But qualifying wasn't great. I made a mistake on my final run, but I don't think I would have improved that much. So yeah, very pleased with P3 overall, I think. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Ayo, you got anything?
Well done on your P3. Got you valuable points for the championship as well. I believe you're on contention for P4, if I'm not mistaken, with Willie having a no-show. Anything looking forward to heading into Austria? Because I know you've mentioned before that here in Jeddah, not many people do tend to practice, and here in this case, it does show with everyone being so close up. So anything heading into Spielberg?
Much more looking forward to Austria because it's, I think, considered a controller track. Definitely a lot more than Jeddah, which is very much a wheel track with the precise movements you can do. But yeah, very much looking forward to Austria. Probably expecting it to be a train, maybe a loose AlphaTauri 10 seconds down the road. But yeah, should be a lot of fun for the final race of the season.
Thank you very much, Matty. Congratulations on your P3. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
So with third place done, that leaves us with Geek. I don't know if he is in the... He is. Oh, thank you very much, producer. We're going to bring Geek into here. Geek, it's been a battle and a half for you, but you got there. You got P2. How do you feel about that?
Exhausted. My God, it's bloody boiling in here.
Okay. I have to ask, why so boiling in there?
Wheel go brr and sweat. No, I was trying my damn hardest there. I've done no practice again this week due to the aftermath of last week.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So lack of practice puts you in P2. There was occasional moments that you got close to Cyril. What was Cyril doing in your eyes that just stopped you from getting those overtakes?
No, Cam always has the pace. He was just plainly faster than me today.
Fair enough. Thank you. AO, you got anything?
Well, you've got some valuable points now heading into the series finale in Austria now. I believe you're actually now in second place. The question is, how do you fare your chances now for the position for P2 against Dasher?
So Dasher's not here for Austria, unfortunately. However, that does mean it could be someone else I could be fighting for P2. We'll just have to wait and see. But I mean, as I alluded to, just after last week, where I'll be honest, I was borderline thinking of just quitting. Mostly because, to come back and just set up my wheel, I think like an hour before, just do a tiny bit of time trial, get the setup, quickly tune it in Grand Prix mode, and come home and deliver P2. I'm happy with that, especially considering I had no idea what tires were good. I had no idea how much the fuel would burn, especially in DRS. As you probably saw on the stream, I was Tony Hawking across many a curb, and thankfully still within track limits, but still just a very unsettled car. And then I managed to pull it back with VRS, but it can't bail you out every time. But no, I'm happy with P2, as I said, after last week.
Hey, it may be a Tony Hawk experience, but I tell you what, it still won you a medal nonetheless. So congratulations on P2. You're going into the last race. Let's bring it home for the end. Thank you again, Geek, for being in here.
No worries. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
And then it leaves one last person. Cyril is our race winner. Let's bring him in here. Cyril, first of all, congratulations. Not only are you the race winner, but you are the British University Sim Racing Champion. One race before the end. How do you feel about that?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't think it's quite done yet. I think I need to get like P10 next round, but yeah, it's all bar.
Just to say, mathematically, you've done it.
Oh, brilliant.
You have done it.
Finally. Should have had it last season and didn't. And then, this season I think it's been arguably worse, but also,
I tell you what, that was a dominant performance from you. There was no point where I saw any worry, any lack of control of that car. The car seemed so well tuned. Wasn't even a single twitch of oversteer or understeer. From visually, I don't know how it felt for you, because as I said, you got a different feel. The only threat you had was from Geek. Did that scare you at all at any point?
Not really. I mean, we were kind of just chilling together. More, obviously, he had an interesting post-race event last week, so it's more just getting him a good result. And I think we did that. Car was absolutely beautiful to drive. It just turned when I wanted, and then didn't turn obviously too much. Luckily, it was absolutely great to drive this week.
Thank you. AO, got anything on that one?
Congratulations on pole position, sprint race win, and feature race win. I believe this is your second. If I'm not mistaken, Triple Crown. I think. Oh no, Grand Slam, Grand Prix so far in the Summer Championship. Do you think you will be able to repeat the same feat heading into Austria?
Don't think so. DRS is a bit harder to break there, obviously, with there only being 10 corners. But after last season, certainly on strategy, pace looks good as well. So fingers crossed, wrap it up on a high as well.
Congratulations on the championship, Cameron. You deserve it.
Thank you very much, guys.
Well, that concludes the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, and I've always put Saudi as one of my favorite tracks. Not the favorite, but up there. And it has failed to disappoint again. Amir, round this off for me. Like, summarize what we saw and your opinion to it all.
It was just quite an amazing track. Whenever I was given the commentary role, I was a bit skeptical to see if a sprint race the size of Jeddah, because it's not really known for, wheel-to-wheel action and stuff, if it will produce. But my word, Hyper, it really did deliver, especially the sprint race, the feature race. It's such a shame with the technical difficulties because it kind of glossed it over, but still there was amazing wheel-to-wheel action all throughout between P1 and P2, P3, P4, P5 to P7 at one point, and then it all went into like the final few laps, and that's where everything set into stone with Matty getting a deserved P3, Cameron winning the championship, holding off from Geek. It was really just amazing, and as you've mentioned, Jeddah really did not fail to disappoint. It was an amazing race, and this will be talked about for many seasons to come.
I do hope so. If they're going to talk about this, then hey, I'm happy about that. But of course, we're going to have to top it all off. Thank you very much to our great partner of Special Effects who do support this series and this race, and the NSC for backing the British sim racing. As a small community as we may be, it is still the one that packs a good amount of fans and a lot of action. And what a race to finish, to go into the final race. Of course, the championship has been crowned, but does not mean that everything else has been settled. So stay tuned next week. I won't be here. Are you going to be here, Abir?
No, I will not be here.
Ah, we're going to have some two new fresh commentators. Probably Nathan Ritchie. I think someone else as well, but I don't know who exactly will be here. But nonetheless, we'll have two fresh casters to round off the series. Thank you everybody for watching, and stay tuned next week as we head to Austria.
There is no place and no moment in history where I could stand and say, British begins here, now.